Hello out there. We're on the air. Happy hump day, everybody. Happy hump day. Okay, I just about had everything done this morning. I just forgot about nostr, so just give me 1 sec here. Let's settle in a bit. How's everybody feeling today? This thing working? Are we good? Sound on? Yep. Zaps on? Yep. All right, what's the stream today? How high can Bitcoin go? Believe it or not, I'm sure nobody's going to be surprised by this, but we're actually not talking about the price of Bitcoin today. We're going to be talking a little about the hash rate. That's why I put high in there. Hash rate high. Every time I hear the word hash or see the word hash or type the word hash, I think of our good buddy, Ricky LaFleur from the Trailer Park Boys. And again, if you've never watched the Trailer Park Boys before, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Probably top 3 shows for me. The Office would be in there, Trailer Park Boys, and I don't even know what else. Those are kind of my two main faves of all time. We started watching that tire show. It's actually really funny with Shane Gillis. And then I was sitting in the tire shop for a couple hours last week and made me think of that. Anyways, I was talking to nostr there. We got a lot of people in Zapstream this morning. It's good to see. I see Letha's over there. Let me quickly send this out. Hello out there. We're on the air. How many people here? We got 15 on the YouTube, 12 in the Zapstream. How many people are on nostr? Say yes or no. How many people here are on nostr from the live audience right now? Join us for some Bitcoin talk. See you on the Zaps. Okay. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Did you, I don't know if you guys were aware of this or not, but we hit an all-time high in Canada yesterday. $100,000 Canadian for one Bitcoin. It's been a long time coming. We nipped at it a couple times, but we never got there last time. I think we had about 98,000 in March this year, but we hit 100K yesterday. Okay, so I guess people's fingers are broken this morning. I don't see many responses to nostr other than Sachi. Says yes. We got 1 person out of 40. That's awesome. Okay, well, let's get back to Waro's post this morning to start the show. Bitcoin has no top because fiat has bow bottom or no bottom. We'll change his, he retyped it there. No bottom. I like bow bottom better. Good afternoon, stackers. So Waro is the winner today. Oh, Arnie was here. I didn't even notice. Shit. Sorry, Arn. Waro is the winner today, 88 sats. So Waro, if you're still here, if you're still in the chat, put your Lightning URL in there and I'll send you some sats live on the show here. What else we got? I see the grinders over in the Zap stream. Zapped 121 sats. So today is hump day. And just like every hump day that we've done in the, well, not everyone, but recently, if you zap the show today, you're going to get humped. You're going to get a hump in. If you like the show today, you have pretty good odds of a hump today. But zaps guaranteed, likes, pretty good chance. So Grinder today is getting a hump in, which is good to see. The one thing I forgot, and I was thinking about this today in the shower, but we did our show on Monday, and to celebrate 4,000 subscribers on YouTube, we raised 8,000 sats, which is double what we were looking for. We tried to get 4,000, we got 8,000. But I forgot that Mondays were for the rescue dogs. So those 8,000 sats that were generously donated from people on Monday are going towards our rescue dog fund. And so the updated number for that now is 60,152 sats after the 8,000. I'm gonna send the rescue dogs those. They need them more than me. So the new updated number again is over 60,000 now for the dogs. So I forgot that. I forgot we do that on Mondays. I was too busy celebrating. But anyways, we got Spaceman's up 69 sats as well, getting a hump in. Thank you, Spaceman. We got the Bitcoin Buddha, also known as Spaceman, in both chats today. Love to see that. Duncan, good morning, my friend. Letha, also in both chats with the hump, or the camel, I mean. Duncan says, working outside Smoky Joe's today. So tempted. What's Smoky Joe's? Never heard of it. Never been. We got Joey. Good morning, Bitcoiners. Morning, Joey. It's a good looking dog in your picture there. Looks like a German Shepherd. Maybe cross. Maybe a rescue dog. Nick, good morning. Please recommend to me how you store your seed phrase. More than one piece of metal so you can store them in multiple locations, or do you have just one? So, Nick, I hate to break it to you, my friend, but we recently made some changes on this show. Slight changes. And I've kind of stopped talking about security stuff and privacy stuff, non-KYC stuff on the show, mostly because I don't really want to feed the beast. In other words, like if somebody were to watch this, whether it's a bad actor, someone from law enforcement, somebody who would be breaking into your house, a would-be thief, we don't want to give them any ideas. So what I've switched to doing is I strictly talk about this stuff on the second parts of the show, on the private show, we call it. And I'm going to be pretty firm with that. I think I thought about it a lot. And I mean, we can talk about the basic stuff on here and for people who are just kind of getting into Bitcoin. But for that kind of stuff, we're going to keep it to the other part because there's a lot involved with that. And you don't want to really be giving out your secrets to people out there. So in terms of our privacy, our security, I think it makes the most sense to talk about that stuff behind closed doors. So unfortunately, that's how it's going to be. I don't make the rules. Actually, I do. And I like that rule because I was a little bit careless with it, to be honest with you. I gave away a little bit too much information for my liking and for other people out there too. It doesn't really make sense to tell people what your strategy is. So I don't mind talking about that over there because it's not public for YouTube. There's a bit of a filter there. Filter. So sorry about that. But we're going to jump over there today for the second half. So we're only going to do about 45 minutes, I think, on the show today. So if you want to join, we can possibly talk about that on the second part of the show today. We're going to do a bit of a Q&A / watching a video on the second part of the show today. Duncan says, nice orange hoodie. Yeah, I had to. Says, I only bring this hoodie out for very special occasions. And yesterday was one of those occasions. We had $100,000 here in Canada. So orange hoodie came out of retirement. Okie dokie moki. All right. Jason, good morning, brother. Good to see you. Letha's on Nostr. Bitcoin Buddha is watching on Nostr. Less is more. 87 says infinity divided by 21 million. Yep. That's Knut's phrase. I like that. Makes sense. Timber Crasher, good morning, my friend. Nick, just going back to that too. The Living the Future, the private show, you get a lot with that. It's $5 a month, just in case there's anybody new watching today. But it's $5 a month. You get the full show every day. You get into the Signal chat. You get into the Discord channel. And most recently, you get a copy of the Daily Bitcoin Journal, which is I'm on day 3 here today. Day number 3 of 3. I did one this morning. I'm going to start releasing it after the show though, for a couple reasons. Number one is because it was way too much of a shit show in the morning trying to get everything done. So I'm going to release it after the show, but it'll kind of tie into the show, and then it'll have you have something for you to refer back to later, or copy and paste, put it in your own words or put it in your own little journal yourself. I don't know. Everybody's different. Everybody learns differently. And so I love writing myself. So that's what living in the future gets. Full shows, Signal chat, just an unbelievable community of Bitcoiners. Not only just to talk and bullshit with, but to actually find information and from people you can trust. It's not like typing something into Google or you have no idea what's going to come up, or typing something into nostr or Twitter. You have no idea who's on the other end of that. It's a very tight-knit, trusted community. So if you got a question about Bitcoin, throw it out there. You're going to have a pretty good discussion around it. And if somebody puts out an answer or response that's not in our best interest, then they'll get called out. So beautiful. And the new Daily Bitcoin Journal, which is the baby brother to the Daily Bitcoin Journey. We got Hob 94 bit, Zap 69 sats. Thank you. And we got Rajesh over there as well, 100 sats. Rajesh, been hot lately. He sent his first Zap earlier this week, I think, or last week. And he's been hot in there. So thank you, Rajesh. Appreciate that, my friend. Grinder says, nice one, Jor. OPSEC is not talking about your OPSEC. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured too. It doesn't really make sense for us to talk about things regarding security, especially when we're dealing with Bitcoin. Multi-generational wealth here we're talking about. We don't want to be sharing our secrets for everybody to see. So we'll see. Someone posted this. Did I say hi, Timber Crasher? One of our Bitcoin journeymen. Good morning, Timber Crasher. If I didn't. Nosferatu. Someone posted this regarding cold card thoughts. Many claim they're air gapping this device. If you haven't disabled some of the optional onboard features out of the box, you're not air gapped. Plugging an SD into your infected computer on your hardware wall is really no secure than a USB setup. Once you broadcast a transaction from PC, you've broken air gap. I don't know. I don't think that that's right. From my knowledge, right? That to me, there's a difference between plugging something into a USB, because there's more things that can be compromised there in that process of plugging it in there. I don't know what happens with the SD card, with the air gapping. This is my understanding of it too. I could be wrong here, but this is my understanding. Again, I'm not a very technical guy. I think that that's why people enjoy the show, is because I speak people's language. So to me, if you're saving a file on a SD card on a computer, it's very hard to corrupt that. And you can see it. You can see the file right in the folder there. And unless somebody would have access to your computer that could open that file and see it, I don't even know what they could see from that though. So again, going back to the USB thing, that's just my gut feeling on it. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if anybody could hack you through your USB port, but I'm not going to risk that with multi-generational wealth known as Bitcoin. So you could be right. You could be right. Cheers, beautiful people. That's a great comment there, Nick. Nick into it. Good morning. Cheers to you. Brian says there is no second best. Yes. Buck 52,000. Favorite crypto show? Is this a crypto show? I guess. I don't know. Hekelo. It's a new face. Good morning, Hekelo. Says, what happens to Bitcoin in a widespread cyber attack grid down scenario? Well, think about it. That's something that I wish people would think more on and figure out themselves, because I know the answer to that. But what do you think would happen in a widespread cyber attack where the grid's down? Could you use Bitcoin? No. Nope. Well, you could. I mean, there's ways to do it with mesh networks and with eCash you can send offline. But for the most part, like we're talking about 500 people on the entire earth who know how to do that. So that's not, I don't consider that to be an option. But what would happen with that is that if the power went down, if there was a cyber attack, there's 20,000 nodes currently out there, approximately 20,000. So each one of those nodes, and what a node is basically just software on your computer, and every 10 minutes you get a new updated copy of the Bitcoin ledger. That's what it is, essentially, in a very non-technical way to put it. And so every one of those 20,000 people have a copy of the updated blockchain. That's how it would be restored. I'm thinking one of those 20,000 people would have a copy of it. And also, I think Blockstream has a node up in a satellite. So even if something were to happen down here, I think that it would be fine. So what would happen? It would go down for a while, probably. If nobody's putting electricity into the Bitcoin network, then there's going to be no blocks. But when it comes back on, we'll have 20,000 people, or at least one person from the 20,000 people who would have a copy of the blockchain from the last 860,000 blocks. It'd be available. So what do? You just pick up from there. And if you compare that to something like the banking system that we have now, the traditional banking system, where it's very centralized. So what I just talked about was very decentralized, right? 20,000 people, 20,000 nodes across the world. That number is going to grow. It's growing every day. But with the banking system, that's one, centralized. So if that gets hit and it's gone, there's no way to restore that. And do you think that they would? Do you think that the people causing the cyber attack or grid down, do you think that they want those numbers to come back? $35 trillion worth of debt. Do you think that they want that to come back to life? I doubt it. So you got money in the bank. Who knows? You owe debt. Who knows? You got stocks. Who knows? But you got Bitcoin. It's going to be there. And whenever the power comes back on, whatever Bitcoin you had in your wallets before, it's going to be there after. The fiat price could have crashed to $5,000 or $5 or what doesn't matter. The same amount of Bitcoin that you had before the attack, you're going to have after the attack. And that's the most important part. Letha zapped. 121 sats. Thank you, Letha. Appreciate that. Rajesh says 1 hash in remote India would be powering that blockchain. Exactly. I don't know who this is, but they said, why not share secrets? I mean, I don't know. No issues with secrets. I have issues with privacy and Bitcoin, especially. I'm not going to share my secrets of where my biddy is. Crypto is not Bitcoin. Oh, it's the commoner. Okay, we reloaded here. The commoner. Crypto is not Bitcoin. I mean, it is technically. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. But in terms of like crypto itself, the altcoins, it is much different. Okay, let's get to the metrics here. How come it always takes 20 minutes to get to the mempool? BitAxe is resetting here. All right, where are we? I'm feeling pretty good today. I feel like it's nice when you can just do the show. Like there's been a lot of mornings, especially in the summertime when things are so busy here, where it's just a complete scramble to try to get ready for the show, to get everything in place. But I feel in a clear mind right now, which is good. All right, so we currently are sitting at block height 868096. Fees are extremely low once again. 868096, 2 sats per VByte. The last 2 blocks, once again, I feel like every time we look at the metrics here, it's like fucking Groundhog Day. Foundry USA. I mean, at least they're US. I don't know if they're a proxy for somebody else though, but at least they're US. Look at this. 91 blocks ahead right now. We're going to be talking about this today. We're going to be talking about what 91 blocks ahead means. Looking like a 8.15% upwards adjustment, which means it's too easy. It's too easy right now for miners to solve the block equation. The blocks are coming in too fast. So the next difficulty adjustment is in approximately 5 days. While I got you here, I want to show you a couple other resources. And I was thinking about, I looked at this morning, and we haven't talked about this one for a while, but this is a great resource here for people. In addition to mempool, this is another one. This is called the timechaincalendar.com. So it has absolutely everything that you need to know in one screenshot. You got the block height, you got the when the last block was, you got the fees, the last block that was mined, who it was mined by, the total reward, the exchange, your Moscow time right there, the total market cap, the total supply, the percentage of the supply. It's kind of crazy to me that we're 94% mined. It's been 15 years, or almost 16 years, I guess. And we've mined 94.16% of the Bitcoin. And we still have 100 and some years to go. But then you got all the mining information over here as well. The block production. Average block time says 91 blocks fast. You got the hash rate, 731 exahash per second. Pretty good. So there's more on there too. You can slide this as well. This is one of the coolest parts. You can see, you can go to any block and see what was going on at that time. Pretty good resource for people. timechaincalendar.com. And then the other one I wanted to show you was this one from Bull Bitcoin. This one's called the Bull Bitcoin fee multiple. So it shows you where the fees are. Compare and use this one. Use the last 365 days. This is the best one to compare it to. So it says current fee is 6. I don't know if that's right. Is it? Anyways, we'll trust them. But the average fee for the last 365 days has been 42 sats per VByte. So in other words, this is a pretty good place to check if you're sending any Bitcoin, just to see if it's worth doing right now. So that one is feemultiple.bullbitcoin.com. You could probably just Google Bull Bitcoin fee multiple and it might come up. But at the same time, Google's a fucking piece of shit lately. Pardon my language. But it is. I've been using more AI for like searches and stuff, way more than Google. It'd be interesting to see what happens with Google in the coming years. They've kind of had a monopoly on the internet since the internet's been around, but it seems like that's going to change. Okay, what do we got over here? Spaceman says, got to leave early today. Have a great day. Awesome people. Same to you, my friend. Sunshine. Zapped 420 sats. Blessings. So we got Sunshine, Letha, Rajesh, Hobbit, Spaceman, and the Grinder all getting humped today on hump day. Pretty good. And Noah's over here too. Hi, Jor. Better late than never. Happy or hi living the futurers. Happy Wednesday. Morning, Noah. Great to see you. I saw an email from you last night. I just hadn't had time to respond to it yet, but it looked like good news. Arnie hair everywhere. Okay, let's get to some metrics quickly while we're nerding out here on the Bitcoin network. Pretty impressed one today. This is a big one. It's a big metrics today. Look at this. All right, we'll skip the block and the fees. We talked about that. The price today in the US at the time of writing this was $71,983 US. 1 year ago, you could have purchased a Bitcoin for $34,497 US. And 4 years ago, on this day, $13,546 US there. Moscow time today, $1 US will get you 1,392 Satoshis. And if you want to be Moscow rich, you got to get 1 million sats. Pretty doable, but most people won't do it. 1 million sats today in the US is going to cost you $718. But this is where the fun starts. Look at this. In Canada, 99,997 Canadian dollars, which means for the first time ever, and this is legit, I didn't fudge any numbers here. The Moose Jaw time, $1 Canadian will get you 1,000 sats. And if you want to be Moose Jaw rich in Canada, you need 1 million sats. It's going to cost you $1,000. So we have perfect parity in Moose Jaw today. 1,000 Moose Jaw time. Yesterday we would have been lower than 1,000, and we might be today. We might be right now. This was about an hour ago when I did this. Let's see. Let's try to make history here on the show. Receive $1. I'm in US still. I think that's, yeah, it won't be. US was higher. Okay, good enough. We failed. Or did we? Who knows? Jay, good morning. It comes alive and eats you. Talking about Bitcoin? I don't know. Tommy D, good morning. Bitcoiners bullish on the Living in the Future crew. Me too. Might be more bullish on that crew than I am on Bitcoin somehow. Some great people in there. We're going to do some really good things in the Living in the Future community. We're only 6 months into it, maybe 7 months now. But there's been a lot of momentum building in there. And it's like the game hasn't even started yet. We're still warming up. Secret, buy more Bitcoin. That's good advice here. Stack sats and ammo. Ammo and food better than Bitcoin in that scenario. Absolutely. And the thing for me about that scenario that I was talking about with Bitcoin and the power outage, everyone thinks that like they're going to keep some gold on hand or silver on hand for a doomsday scenario. No one's just think about this deeply. Power goes out, lights go out, internet's down. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows when the power is going to come back on. Most people, I'm thinking, there might be 2% of people who would actually be prepared for that. The other 98% of people would be in absolute scramble mode. So if somebody comes to your house, you got food, you've been prepared, you got water. They say, I'll trade you this gold coin for 10 cans of soup. Keep in mind here, you don't know what happened. You don't know when the power is going to come back on. You don't know when you're going to be able to get more food. Are you going to trade that food for a gold coin? You can't eat a fucking gold coin, right? And that's the only thing that you care about in that situation. So, no, I mean, it's crazy that people buy gold and silver for those times. And it's like they'll be just as useless as Bitcoin, with or without the internet. But ammo, food, yes. Drew says, Jordan, did you see Colorado's voting machines password were leaked in 63 out of 64 counties by the Secretary of State? I don't know. Like to me, the US election is like third world country or worse. Like there's people flying over from Europe. There's people driving over from Canada. There's people voting multiple times. You don't have to show your ID. I don't know if that's in all states or if that's just in certain states. But what world does it make sense that you don't need an ID to vote? Like people put so much weight into this election. There's so many things that depend on this election, and it's just so fucking Mickey Mouse. So like, I don't know what the answer is. The answer to me, obviously, is either get it on the blockchain with Bitcoin. You get a public key and a private key. You need that private key to put a vote in, but you can go and see that your vote's counted in there with your public key. I'm thinking that's what will happen in the future. And I know we're less than a week away from this one, so it's not going to happen, but hopefully the right people get in place, the people who actually win this election. But then the other thing too is just like do by hand, show ID, by hand, count that day. What's so hard about it? Build redundant personal systems for your own family. What? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I think I have an idea, but maybe explain a little bit further if you don't mind, because I think you're onto something there. Distinctive says in the UK they just announced a higher rate capital gains change from 20% to 24%. We expect it to be much higher. Isn't that nuts that people just expect things to be the worst? Everything that's wrong with society right now is just people have no hope. People have no optimism. People just expect the worst with everybody. And it's just like, it's horrible. King Dan's in the chat this morning. One of our Bitcoin journeymen, one of our Living the Future members. George going for the orange hoodie today in support of the Donald. Yes. And yes, good morning, Diego. But Dan's absolutely right. And I talked about this a lot. This is kind of my theory on it, right? Like, I'm betting on a functioning society. I'm not putting all my eggs into a basket expecting the world to collapse. I think that that's just bad for your state of mind, bad for your family, bad for everything, because it could happen. But what if it does? Like, you're preparing for a nightmare? No. Have things in place, be prepared for it, but bet on humans figuring this out, because we have been around for tens of thousands of years in much worse conditions that we're in right now. So yes, I'm betting on a functioning society where the internet works, humans interact, markets are free, and the currency is decentralized. We're already there. We just need to keep going in that direction. All right, let's get to some news. As I forgot to send the email today, so that'll take me 30 seconds here. But in the meantime, I wanted to start the show with this today, but I forgot about it. So we'll watch it now while I send that email. Oh, it's -7 here today. The poor cat. -7 right now. Feels like -11. Ugh. Poor cat. Anyways, we'll get that figured out. Here is our good buddy. I believe this guy's a Canadian, Frankie. How can I take this down? Okay, well, this is Frankie. You've probably seen him before. He's kind of an internet legend. This was filmed in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, one of my favorite places on the planet, Cape Breton. But this is Frankie McDonald. Absolute Canadian legend, Frankie McDonald, yelling Bitcoin. So he's a Bitcoiner. He's yelled Bitcoin several times in the past, usually when we hit a new all-time high. But one of my favorite guys out there, Frankie McDonald. What a beauty. Okay, so let's, this is another thing I saw that I wanted to talk about today. What do we got for time? 34. All right, we're doing good. Let's bring this up. It's from our we'll call him an ally. Not my favorite guy, but an ally. Saifuddin Amus. Pretty good name too, to be honest with you. So what Safe says today. Fun fact of the day. On any time horizon, over 5 years, virtually every Wall Street money manager has underperformed every Bitcoiner who just buys and holds. Housekeepers, cab drivers, brain surgeons, programmers, and retirees have all outperformed the kings of finance. So the key here, I think, is this. Over any time horizon, or on any time horizon over 5 years. That's the key part there. They've outperformed the kings of finance. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is wait. Buy, hold, protect, and wait. But isn't that true? Isn't that funny? And it's not like it's not like he's picking like during the last 3 months or during the last 3 years or 5 years. You can usually kind of handpick things in anything to get the results that you wanted to. But Safe said there at the start of it, over any 5-year period since Bitcoin's been around, Bitcoin hodlers have outperformed Wall Street significantly too, not just by a couple percentage points. But isn't that nuts? Think about how many, well, I mean, Bitcoin hasn't always been around, but worth talking about because it's pretty easy to do. Very hard, but also pretty easy to do. Isn't it crazy how easy it is and how hard it is at the same time? Just buying Bitcoin and holding on to it. All right, let's check on the Zap stream. Oh, Noah zapped 1,000 sats. Thank you, Noah. It is hump day. Yay. That reminds me of The Office. It is your birthday. That was the banner that I think Dwight made that for Kelly. I don't know. The banner said, "It is your birthday, period." Okay, let's get to the next part here. Ballsy Golf, good morning. Ballsy Golf sent me some sats yesterday through Koinos, one of our favorite Lightning wallets, Koinos. So thank you again, Ballsy Golf, for the sats yesterday. I very much appreciate that. Let's see what the commenter says here over on Zapstream. We are living in a world that has many, many, many parallel systems operating at the same time. Yes, correct. Bitcoin is currently the single most decentralized and secure operating system that all other systems are slowly transitioning over to operating on as they all realize this. That should be a post. You should post that on Nostr if you haven't already, because that's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. And there's a lag too. That's kind of what we're going to talk about today on the first part of the show here is the hash rate. And there is definitely a lag in, what's happening here and when most people catch on to it. And we see that perfectly in not only like Wall Street, like investment stuff, but in mining. Like you can see how far ahead the hash rate is right now. And typically there's a lag from the hash rate going up, which is the total electricity in the Bitcoin network. The hash rate goes up. There's always a lag with the price. This time it's a big lag though. And it just seems like we're setting up for like the perfect storm right now in Bitcoin. But that's absolutely true. We are living in a world with many parallel systems operating. And Bitcoin is the best one. And humans over time always go to the most efficient, always, system. And that's what Bitcoin is. It's the most honest, the most transparent, the most efficient. It's the best. And so it's just really a matter of time before people figure that out. And that's the lag there. That's the opportunity. And absolutely right. I'm going to zap that actually. Commenter, you earned a zap today. 69 sats for hump day. For that. It's absolutely true. It's absolute truth. And, that's something to keep in mind. There's like, people just wait. Most people wait to be told things. They wait to see it on their phone through Twitter, somebody they follow, or they wait to turn on their TV on Fox News and they waiting for somebody to tell them that something's happening. This is already happening without a fucking press conference. This is happening right now. The fact that I'm here, the fact that you're watching this, the fact that this exists, the fact that every 10 minutes there's a new block that's generated in Bitcoin. It's happening right now. It's just that most people are waiting for that announcement. They're waiting for people to tell them that the fiat dollar is dead. It's $35 trillion in debt. It is absolutely impossible for that ever to be repaid. Why are we even talking about it anymore? People are waiting getting too fired up here. I should spray myself with this when I get too fired up. But people are waiting for the news to tell them that this is happening. It's already happening. It's just that some people have figured it out and some people have not. And that is the opportunity that lies in front of us here. Noah says, my son started in August and we calculated his returns and he is already up 38%, beating Wall Street and inflation. Love that, Noah. Primal says, the best investors in the world are really good at doing nothing for long periods of time. That deserves a zap as well. I saw that somewhere on Nostr yesterday and I like that. The best investors in the world are really good at doing nothing for long periods of time. Simple. So simple, but so hard. All right. Wow. Well. What do we have here? What do we have here? It's from TFTC, one of our favorite Bitcoiners out there, Marty Bent. TFTC says Florida's CFO endorses a strategic Bitcoin reserve, urging state pensions to add Bitcoin as a hedge against market volatility. So I just want to read a couple different paragraphs from this. It's 2 pages long. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there are some important parts in this. Oh, what's this? Oh, we got a meeting in half an hour. All right. Well, okay. That's okay. Half an hour is okay. Thank God for this phone. Okay. So we got, this is from Jimmy Patronis. I can't see what that is. The CFO of Florida, state of Florida. Jimmy Patronis. To Chris Spencer, the executive director, Florida State Board Administrative. Okay, so this is what it says. I'm just going to read 2 paragraphs here. So it says, I'm writing to you today with some innovative spirit in mind. In a recent speech at the Bitcoin 2024 convention, President Donald Trump proposed the idea of a national stockpile of cryptocurrency, vowing to make the U.S. the world's cryptocurrency leader. This comes as the Communist Party of China makes inroads every day into the crypto world to grab control over this emerging currency. Trump said he would establish a crypto presidential advisory council and create a national stockpile of Bitcoin using cryptocurrency the U.S. government currently holds, mostly seized in law enforcement actions. I believe this forethought and innovative thinking from a successful businessman like President Trump must not be taken for granted. So then he says a few other things, but this is what I want to share from page 2. Bitcoin is often called digital gold, and it could help diversify the state's portfolio and provide a secure hedge against the volatility of other major asset classes. The State Board of Administration maintains a Florida Growth Fund that allows for more innovative and emerging investments, and a digital currency investment pilot program could be a perfect fit, offering potential benefits that we cannot afford to overlook. Then he talks about the 2 other states, Wisconsin and Michigan, have seen it wise to invest a small portion of their state pension funds into Bitcoin. So this week alone, it's Wednesday only today. And this week we've had the BRICS nations. Who was it? Argentina, the UAE, Ethiopia, Russia. Michigan was last week, I think. Or maybe it was Pennsylvania last week. Anyways. And now we have Florida's CFO talking about Bitcoin. I think people really underestimate how quickly this thing's going to move, because there's a lot of capital in these countries, in these states, in these pension funds. And when everybody wants 1 or 2% or 5% or 10% of Bitcoin, there's not going to be a whole lot left to buy. And if you can buy some, it's going to cost you a lot. So just think of where we are right now. think about long-term where this is all going to, but where we are right now, these are all just kind of proposals and announcements, and the 1%, the 2% of a very, very small amount. But when this starts growing, there's only so much Bitcoin available. There's never been an asset like Bitcoin before with a truly fixed supply. And so it doesn't matter how much demand there is for Bitcoin. It doesn't matter how many countries are mining it, how many countries want to stockpile Bitcoin, how many states want to, how many state pension funds are adding it into their fund, how many retail investors. It doesn't matter how much demand there is. The supply is going to be fixed. So very, very, very simple economics can tell you what's going to happen to the price of Bitcoin. Okay, well, unfortunately, not really unfortunately, but we're going to have to cut this off right away. We didn't even get to the hash rate. Actually, you know what? I'll mention that. I'll get to a couple comments here, and then we'll talk about the hash rate, and then we'll shut her down. Well, we'll go to the next part of the show. Okay, I see Pasty Jenner over there. Good morning, Pasty. Hi, folks. Thoughts on Soul Strategies ticker CYFRF, Canadian company, Bitcoin on the balance sheet. I saw that. I saw Soul Strategies. So it's a company who's holding Bitcoin and Solana. I haven't looked into them though at all. But they're called Soul Strategies. So I can't really comment on it, but it is interesting to say the least. Okay. What do we have here? USA is a banana republic. The elections are for sure. But Jor, the guy who has 1,000 tin cans of soup in his home, he might sell some 10 tins for a gold coin. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I can't speak in absolutes. But first of all, I don't think anybody has 1,000 tins of soup in his home or their home. But at the same time, everybody's going to be different. Maybe the guy also has 1,000 gold coins in his basement. So we can't really put a blanket statement. I'm just saying, for the most part, most people would have a very small supply of food, and they wouldn't be willing to trade it for anything at that point. For the most part, the average, right? There's going to be some exceptions always, some outliers, but for the most part, nobody's trading gold for food in that scenario. Oh, I hope not. Utah State fans, I feel like it'll be months before we know who won. I hope not. I think that'd be the worst possible thing that could happen. Timber crash. Your work has been hell today. I don't know what that is. Wind? So tired of fiat games. Try to get out of this mess. Bitcoin is helping. Yeah, fiat land is a nightmare. Alan Howick in Decentraland, good morning. Winter's coming. Winter's kind of here already. El Salvador is looking better every day. I'm not ruling El Salvador out yet. Mikkel says, sup you stacking sleuts. Frankie the Tank. 7N says, would you ever in the future leverage your Bitcoin for a business? Yeah. Yeah, I would. I've been thinking a lot about that. Not so much this specifically, but I've been thinking a lot about Bitcoiners and how much actual influence and leverage they're going to have in the future. And I've kind of been thinking about something. I'm not going to say too much about it yet, but it has to do with our golf company. And I really think that if we started doing something in these next couple of years with a very long-term vision for it, with Bitcoiners, with that vision and utilizing the Bitcoin we have now in the future for different efforts in the business. I've been thinking about it. Just don't know. I don't know what the best way to approach it is. That's my issue. And I mean, I'm sure if I posted something about it within nostr, within this community, I think we'd have enough interest in it to do it, but I'm just not sure what the best play is on that. I'll be talking about that later in the future. But yeah, I mean, anytime you're leveraging your Bitcoin for a business, I mean, it makes sense if it's a cash flow positive business. I wouldn't leverage Bitcoin for something that's not going to be worth more in the future. It doesn't generate cash flow, unless it's like your house or something that you need in your life. But a business, if it needs something, or if it can generate more cash flow, which can be converted into Bitcoin, then it makes sense to me. Good morning, Bodhi. Good to see you, my friend. Raykin says, hey from Mississauga, Ontario. Good morning. Mrs. Donor in Mississauga now takes Lightning payments. Thanks, Coinos. There you go. We're just talking about Coinos wallet. So Mrs. Donor or Miss Donor. Let's check them out. We don't have time, but we will. Miss Donor. We might just have to miss the second part of the show today. We'll do it tomorrow, though. Thursday, we usually have some time. So Miss Donor looks like, I doubt they'll have anything on their website about it, if it's just a new Coinos recruit. But it looks like kebabs. Missdonor.ca. Kebab, not kebab. Yeah, it looks like I don't even know what these things are called. I've never actually had one of these before. I'm not very cultured. Probably the most culture I get is from Edo, Japanese cuisine. It's about as far as I go, which is just beef and noodles. Dan, I'm getting too fired up here. I think this thing would work really well for both me and Arnie when we get too fired up here. Just squirt. I squirted Arnie with this in the butt the other day, and he almost ran through the wall. So good scare tactic without actually physically harming him, unless he went through a wall. Dan says it's not just the U.S. is in $34 trillion in debt; it's the $200 trillion of unfunded public liabilities. It's a great call. And for those who might not know what unfunded public liabilities are, that is pensions. Like here in Canada, we have the Canada Pension Plan. That's an unfunded public liability. Also, healthcare here in Canada is a major, major, major unfunded public liability. So basically what that means is me as an employee or former employee, I would pay into the pension. I would pay into my federal income taxes in hopes of they would one day pay for my health care after waiting for 4 years to get my broken arm fixed here in Canada. But that's what that means. It's like I pay into this with contributions through pension, through taxes. And on the other side of that is not income for them, but it's a liability that they owe me my pension back. And they owe me healthcare into the future and other things too. But I think those are the two main ones, which would be pensions and healthcare. So yeah, they owe a lot. And if you're a conspiracy theorist, like myself, a proud one, then it explains maybe what happened with the pandemic a little bit. In terms of maybe they don't have to pay all those liabilities back. They want to try to get rid of those liabilities a little bit. Brennan says, just submitted my Microsoft proxy vote against every recommendation of the board. So Brennan's a Microsoft shareholder, it looks like. And the board is recommending them not to adopt Bitcoin. But it looks like Brennan went the other way. So nice work, Brennan. Sachi says, mining fiat today, convert to Bitcoin tomorrow. Rinse and repeat. Taco Tuesday, Bitcoiners leveraging their Bitcoin to be a productive member of society will go a long way to helping win over anti-Bitcoiners. Just be careful about how you do it. Yeah, maybe with that in mind. Yeah, Donaire. Okay. So with that in mind, let's maybe wrap up the show today with our good buddy, Jack Mahlers. And he's kind of talking about something like this. Something like this. In terms of, I think it's very applicable for the people who are here today, Bitcoiners who are here today, and how you feel about it and the wealth that you're going to be coming into and his thoughts on that, because I very much echo exactly what Jack says here. So I think it's worth sharing here. We'll watch it at normal speed. It's only a minute long, but this is our good buddy Jack Mahlers. Oh, what did I do? That didn't work. All right, let's try this again. No full screen, I guess, on Twitter.
And I think that, sometimes I've even grappled with, why do early Bitcoiners get to be so better off and successful versus others? Is that deserving? I went through that journey myself, philosophically and intellectually, when I was getting into Bitcoin and had my first bull run. And for one, I don't know of any other fair system or fair way to distribute a new money and grant people new wealth than being first and early to better money. But then even more so, I do think of it as a reward to go through the journey you just described, as a form of ego death and humility. It is like rewarding the best versions of ourselves and what we would want in our peers, is people that play by the rules, that are willing to be governed by truth and reality, that are willing to accept humility. That's the type of people that I would want to have wealth and wealth appreciation in society. People that aren't on ego trips, that don't concentrate towards power, right? That don't play political games, that don't lie. So I've also come to peace with that. And that makes me really happy about Bitcoin, is it's the people that are willing to be governed by the truths of the world are the ones that are accruing wealth in the wealth transfer. I think it's a really powerful, hopefully it's a powerful transformation, in that if those type of humans are the ones that have wealth over the next couple centuries, it makes me really hopeful of what the world will look like, because in theory, they're better humans fundamentally than those that can't face real truths. And
Ooh, that hurts. That was a good ending to that video. They're better humans than those who can't accept truth. But if you think about that at a pretty deep level, and just think about the people who own Bitcoin today. Not the people who bought back in 2013 because they didn't understand it, but the people who are here today. And some might be from 2013, 14, 15, whatever. But the people who are here today with any amount of Bitcoin. And if you understand where Bitcoin's going, we just talked about the countries, the states, the pension funds, everybody's going to be adopting Bitcoin. Everybody's going to want your Bitcoin. Individuals, companies, countries, robots, and AI. Everybody's going to want your Bitcoin. So the people who are here today, the Bitcoiners who are here today, they've earned that. But think about the kind of people who are here today. The people who have given the middle finger, 2 middle fingers, to the old system. They've been told that they were wrong. They've been told that they were crazy. They've been told that it's a Ponzi scheme, that it's evil, used by drug dealers, child traffickers, everything. And what did people do? That's what we did, because we are able to recognize and embrace the truths of the world. Most people aren't. And so you're going to get a very nice reward in the future. And Jack's talking about the fact that he wants people like that to have the wealth, to have the influence in the world. And that's what's going to happen. So we're making this shift here, this transition from the evil of the world controlling the money printer, controlling the system. We're moving out of that system because it is evil. There's a lot of things wrong with that old system. And the people who are still, the people who are in that system the longest are going to have the least amount of wealth in the new system. So the people who are either scared of the truth or the ones who are hiding the truth from people are going to be see the least benefit from Bitcoin. And on the flip side, the people who embrace truth, the people who are speaking the truth, and the people who want fairness and transparency and truth and honesty in the world are going to be the ones that have the wealth in the future. And that to me is incredibly, incredibly powerful and bullish for myself and for us. So I think we'll leave it there today. I don't have any amount. Can you help me, sir? I just need 50 USD to start. Well, I'll give you some advice instead. How about that? Here's a tip. Find a way to add value to people's lives, and they'll give you value in return. And whether you have $5, $50, $500, you put that into Bitcoin, and that'll change your entire direction going into the future. But everything in Bitcoin is proof of work. And me giving you $50, first of all, I'd never do that, for one. But even if I did, you didn't earn that. There's no proof of work there. So add value, put in the work. People, I'd say my favorite law of the universe, outside of like karma, but like my favorite law of the universe, and our good buddy Earl talks about this all the time. But the amount of value that you receive in your life is directly correlated with the amount of value that you provide to others in life, right? So go with that. Thanks, sir. It means a lot. I try a lot of things, but it's hard in my country. I don't doubt that. I'm not saying that it's easy. And it's, I think we take for granted how much easier it is here in a place like Canada for that kind of stuff. But we now have the internet, we now have Bitcoin, and we now have nostr. So it might take a little bit more work for you than others, but that's part of it. It's part of the proof of work aspect. And some things are luck, some things are, I don't know. It's a funny world. Anyways, let's okay, I'm not reading that comment over in Zapstream. The Grinder says, we also provide immediate humanitarian aid where nation states fail. Yes, exactly. That's the kind of people that you want. If you were to have, because in this world, you have to have some structure. And you have to have certain individuals, even though it could be as decentralized as you want, but you still are going to have people with power, with influence, with wealth. And the people you want having that wealth are the people who believe in people, who believe in truth and honesty and transparency. That's who you want. If you want this world to be a better place, you can't argue with that. And if you do, then you're watching the wrong show. Okay, well, let's get out of here. Thanks everybody once again for being here. I didn't see Rick in the chat today, so I thought I would check this out myself. And yesterday we actually had more likes than people on YouTube. Today we failed at that. So on your way out, make sure you press the like button if you want to get a hump in today. Very easy to do. But on Zapstream as well, if you want to get a hump in, make sure you send any amount of sats to get yourself a hump today on hump day. So thank you, everybody. I apologize for not having the second part of the show today. We're going to do it tomorrow, but I got a meeting here in 9 minutes, and I actually want to be ready for this one. So I got to cut things off. Have yourselves a great hump day. Thank you once again for being here, for showing up, and for taking on the responsibility that comes with being called a fucking crazy person. So whatever wealth you have coming your way, you've earned it. We'll see you right back here first thing tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.